confidence from within. In the village of Molding on the Hill, where every house was shaped from soft terracotta and every tree was made of green plasticine, lived a quiet boy named Arlo. While other children spent their afternoons racing clay carts or shouting from the rooftops to see who was loudest, Arlo preferred the steady tick-tock of his workshop. He spent his time repairing the tiny, intricate gears of the village clocks, making sure every second was honest and every strike was true. One morning, a flashy boy named Sterling announced the arrival of the Great Glow-Up Gala. Sterling was the most popular boy in town because he always had the shiniest accessories and the loudest laugh. The person with the most spectacular outfit and the biggest fans will win the golden mold. Sterling shouted, already busy gluing sparkling glass beads and silver foil to his clay arms. Everyone rushed to copy him, desperate for a bit of his spotlight. Arlo felt a pang of doubt. He looked at his plain brown smock and his grease-stained fingers. Maybe I'm too dull, he whispered. He went to the village tailor and tried on a cape made of heavy, shimmering gold leaf. It was so large it dragged on the floor, and so stiff he could hardly move his arms. He looked in the mirror, but he didn't see Arlo. He saw a golden statue that couldn't even bend over to fix a clock. Outside, Sterling was showing off his approval meter, a gadget he'd built that beeped every time someone cheered for him. See, Arlo? Sterling bragged, pointing to the rising needle on the dial. This tells me I'm the best. If people didn't like me, the needle would drop, and then who would I be? I need them to keep cheering so I know I'm special. Arlo watched as Sterling nervously adjusted his sequins, looking more worried than happy. Arlo went home and took off the heavy gold cape. He realized that if he wore it, he couldn't do the work he loved. He didn't want a needle on a dial to tell him he was important. I know my gears are straight and my clocks are steady, he said to himself. That has to be enough. He hung the cape on a hook and picked up his favorite wrench, feeling a strange, quiet strength growing in his chest. While the rest of the village was busy polishing their shoes for the gala, Arlo climbed the high tower of the great town clock. It hadn't been oiled in years because everyone was too busy looking at themselves. Arlo spent hours in the dark, dusty tower, cleaning every tooth of every wheel. He wasn't doing it for a prize. He was doing it because the clock deserved to run perfectly. The gala began with a roar of music and a flash of lights. Sterling took the stage, his approval meter beeping wildly. But as he tried to perform a dance, his heavy sequins began to peel off, and his silver foil snagged on his gadgets. The more he tried to impress the crowd, the more his costume fell apart. Suddenly, with a loud krrrak, the village's main power failed because everyone had plugged in too many decorative lights. The village fell into total darkness and silence. The music stopped, and the glow-up gala was ruined. In the pitch black, no one could see who was wearing gold or who had the most sequins. But then, a steady, rhythmic sound echoed from above. Tick, tick, tick. Arlo was still in the tower. He reached out and pulled the heavy iron lever he had just repaired, releasing the great clock's mechanical heart. The clock struck 12 with a deep, resonant chime that vibrated through the clay ground. A soft, warm light emitted from the clock face, illuminating the whole square. The villagers looked up in awe. Sterling walked over to Arlo, who was climbing down the tower stairs, covered in oil but standing tall. "Why didn't you come to the stage?" Sterling asked. "Weren't you afraid no one would see you?" Arlo smiled. "I didn't need to be seen to know the work was good," he said. "Real confidence isn't about the noise people make for you. It's the quiet feeling you get when you know you've done your best." Sterling looked at his broken meter, and then at the steady, glowing clock. For the first time, he took off his remaining sequins and just stood there, realizing that being yourself was the brightest way to shine.